Experience is always better in a group. The Christian experience doubly so. We're just a group of gamers that love to talk about life, God, and video games in no particular order. So whether you're a newbie or a grizzled ancient like us, we want to help each other roll the level.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Roll the Level, where we are going to have a conversation about life, God, and video games in no particular order. My name is Dame, and I'm really glad that you are with us here today, because in this house, we have just the two of us here today. So it's just Sarah and I today. So, Sarah, how you doing?
I am okay. How are you?
I'm doing peachy keen. It has been kind of a crazy, kind of a busy week, but I mean, what week isn't
Exactly.
when you're trying to lead a church, I guess, and you're trying to do it by yourself.
Oh boy.
So,
Yeah.
So it's been a good week. I mean, all in all, got a chance to meet with my leadership team again, and they are a fantastic group of people. I just absolutely adore that I get to work with them.
That's awesome.
So
Happy for you.
So that has been good. We are matless today.
Yeah. Much needed
Matt,
vacay. Well deserved vacay.
Well deserved vacay. So we wish him rest right before we throw the podcast.
I was gonna say, here you go, have it now.
Yeah. You get a podcast to do on your vacation. Here
You're
you go,
welcome.
friend. Now I'm sure that he will. I'm sure he will be very good at putting boundaries up.
Oh, for sure.
for that. What are you playing this week, Sarah?
Oh man, I beat a game. I beat PictoQuest this week.
PictoQuest.
It's like,
okay.
do you know Picross? It's a nonogram game. It's like Sudoku, but like on a bigger scale.
yeah.
Like where you fill in the boxes and you make pictures. So PictoQuest is like an RPG version of that. So I beat that this week. And Cat Quest. I've been playing Cat Quest.
I heard about Cat Quest a while ago. How is that?
It is very cute. Very I don't know. It's easy. It's just kind of free flowing. You do all the side quests. You do all the main quests. It's really just fun and funny. It's all cat puns everywhere,
Nice.
and it's just action combat. So it's just a nice diversion right now. Before I'm getting ready for back to school stuff. So I didn't really want to sink my teeth into anything right now. I'm kind of like, okay, what do I need for school? What do I need to get ready? And the food shopping list. And so I just need a diversion kind of thing. How about you? What have you been playing?
Hey. Makes sense. I'm in this interesting lull where there's like a month between now and the drop of Destiny 2 Shadow Keep, of course.
Yep.
And so they just wrapped up the season of Triumph. So a bunch of the achievement stuff that I'd been working on, I completed what I had set out to complete, which is great.
Goals.
I mean, I kind of wish that I'd gotten some of the titles, but
Life
kind of has taken priority. So I know now, going into this next year of Destiny, some of the things that I need to do on the front end of things beginning. So I've got some strategy. It's got the strategy in mind. But so I've been playing a little bit of that, just kind of dinking around. But I went back and started playing Hallow Knight.
Oh wow! I hum and haw about that one. It looks too hard for me, but I think it's on Game Pass now, so I might try it. But how do you like it?
So it does get challenging, but I love Metroidvania games. So I really love Metroidvania games. So Hallow Knight is I've played a bit of Hallow Knight before. I don't know why I never completed it, but I never completed it.
Okay.
And so I just went back and started from the beginning. It's a gorgeous game.
Oh, for sure. I love watching it being played.
The music is beautiful. The art style is really neat. So well worth playing. And for some reason, that like connecting point, I was thinking about that. You were talking about Cat Quest. There was there was a cat themed Metroidvania game that I played a couple months ago called Gato Roboto.
Oh yeah, you talked about that. I think you liked that one.
I loved
Oh,
it. It
man.
was so good. It was so.
I've
so
heard
good.
multiple people say it's good, so I might check it out.
If you like the Metroidvania style of gameplay, it's a solid one.
Because
it's a solid.
I've also been watching people play the Bloodlines. Is it Bloodlines? I did that right? Oh, what the heck is New Castlevania?
Bloodstained.
Bloodstained, yes.
Legacy
Oh my gosh.
Legacy of the Night. That was actually really excellent.
Was it? Yeah.
Well, caveat
okay.
here.
Ready.
It was excellent on PC.
Oh, right. Okay. I wouldn't play it on Switch. I'd probably play on PS4 anyways, but
No,
don't
I would
really.
I would not recommend playing it on the Switch.
Okay.
I have it on the Switch. I actually reviewed it for GameSpace on the Switch.
Don't do
and
it.
It was hard to play,
So
especially after playing
disappointing.
the PC version
Yeah.
too. I got it on the PC as well, and I loved it on the PC. It really is like the spiritual successor to Castlevania Symphony of the Night, but it's Igarashi, so
It looks so
it's
fun. I don't know, but you haven't been playing any of the new hotness this week. I guess the new hot release.
No, I have not, and I've been asked about that because
Really?
yeah, because I played a lot of World of Warcraft.
We're talking about World of Warcraft Legacy, by the way.
We're talking about World of Warcraft Classic
Yes.
here. I have been asked about that if I was going to be playing. I actually let my subscription to World of Warcraft lapse several months ago.
Yeah.
You did the same?
I did the same.
How do you feel about that?
Okay, so I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy 14, and I adore it. I love it to death. I love that I only need one character to do everything. But I have been feeling a hankering to go back to WoW.
Really?
I have, and not classic. I don't want to go backwards. But I'm feeling like I went on there the other day. I downloaded it. I started making like a new character, being like, oh man, it's like a comfort food for me to go through the story again. It just feels like home, and it's like, oh, I could really use something that just feels so comforting to me right now to play. And I haven't pulled the trigger yet, but I'm not doing classic.
Don't do it. So yeah, for me, it's kind of a hard case for me because I just found myself not enjoying the time in the game like I used to, and part of that is just because I don't have as many people that I was playing the game with.
True.
I mean, Bailey still plays, but I mean, it's very, very occasional, and she's a pet collector,
Right.
So
She's
I mean,
like
like
the bestest.
she is like one of the best.
That's crazy.
Pet
awesome.
collectors on our server, so there's that. But I mean, it's the element of the game that she enjoys, which is different from the elements of the game that I enjoy.
Right.
So it's kind of hard to when you don't have people to play the game with, and I did way back a little bit in vanilla, definitely in Burning Crusade, and a lot in Wrath of the Lich King. I was a part of a raiding guild.
Okay.
And it's just a different season of life that I'm in right now. And I don't have the bandwidth to do that, to commit to like that one game. Now that being said, when I was doing that, I really wasn't going out and buying other video games or anything. That was kind of the game that I was playing, and so I was invested in it.
Right.
But there are too many things that, like, as I look at people logging in to the classic server and see the Twitter feed of people like complaining about things like server queues.
I heard those were awful.
There are people who are now writing articles of like the top Netflix shows to watch while you're while you're waiting in the World of Warcraft server queue.
Go watch the movie.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it is really funny to see that. But I mean that's kind of how things were. Back in the day during Classic.
I don't miss it.
What's that?
I don't miss it.
Yeah, I definitely don't miss that. I don't miss some of the quality of life. I wouldn't miss some of the quality of life upgrades that they had, and I would not miss Blizzard's disdain for Shaman and the
Oh,
Horde in
yeah.
Classic. So I mean, there's
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I won't get too much into that. All I'll say is Warlord's Command. If you don't believe me, look into the quest line for Warlord's Command. It was the Onyxia attunement quest. It was ridiculous.
Wow, I'm feeling some malice here.
Well, I'm laying a case. I'm laying the groundwork for a case here. But there was bonkers. I mean, there was a quest chain in order to get into like the first, I guess it was the first raid, or first like one of the raid encounters.
Right.
There was the Molten Core, which was the tier 1, and then Onyxia was kind of 1.5 or like something like that. It was just like a one shot encounter, like one boss encounter.
Okay.
Where you go fight this big black dragon. But in order to get into Onyxia's lair, there was a quest chain that you had to do called Warlord's Command. And it was several steps more difficult for the Horde than it was for the Alliance.
Oh, boy.
And so you saw all these Alliance guilds that were progressing
Yeah.
further in the game faster. And gee, I wonder why. Not that there's any bitterness
Nope.
or anything
I
there.
don't feel that at all.
But
coming.
speaking of bitter, there's a story in the Old Testament. There's a picture we get of two women that are going through what is possibly a really, really bitter experience, and actually one of them literally at the end of this particular portion of the story that we're going to talk about today, like says like, don't call me by my name anymore, just call me this other name, which means bitterness.
Oh,
like,
boy.
literally like she's like, don't even call me by my name, just call me by what I am.
That's awesome.
But it's found in Ruth chapter 1, starting in verse 4. I'm sorry. Starting in verse 6. I wrote down the wrong verse.
I read it all anyways.
That's all right. That's all right. Context is key
Yep.
here. When Naomi, now keep in mind, in this particular situation, you have Naomi, who is wife to Elimelech. Then you have her daughters-in-law, Ruth and Orpah. And there's this famine that's in the land and in Israel. So Naomi and her husband, they go to Moab, neighboring country. They have these two sons. The sons end up marrying Moabite women, and then the sons and the husband die. And so there are these three widows that are going, okay, what do we do now? All right, so now jumping in. When Naomi heard in Moab that the Lord had come to aid the people by providing food for them, she and her daughters-in-law prepared to return home from there. With her two daughters-in-law, she left the place where she had been living and set out on the road that would take them back to the land of Judah. Then Naomi said to her two daughters-in-law, "Go back, each of you, to your mother's home. May the Lord show you kindness, as you have shown kindness to your dead husbands and to me. May the Lord grant that each of you will find rest in the home of another husband." And then she kissed them goodbye, and they wept aloud and said to her, "We'll go back with you to your people." But Naomi said, "Return home, my daughters. Why would you come with me? Am I going to have any more sons who could become your husbands? Return home, my daughters. I'm too old to have another husband. Even if I thought there was still hope for me, even if I had a husband tonight and gave birth to sons, would you wait until they grew up? Would you remain unmarried for them? No, my daughters, it's more bitter for me than for you, because the Lord's hand is turned against me." At that they wept. Then Orpah kissed her mother-in-law goodbye, but Ruth clung to her. "Look," Naomi said, "your sister-in-law is going back to her people and her gods. Go back with her." But Ruth replied, "Do not urge me to leave you or turn back from you. Where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God. And where you die, I will die, and I will be there. I will be buried. May the Lord deal with me, be it ever so severely, if even death separates you and me." When Naomi realized that Ruth was determined to go with her, she stopped urging her. So this is a really, really interesting picture here of a journey that that was a difficult one. For one, it was a really, really challenging journey for Naomi. I mean, she's in a land that's unfamiliar to her. She's now a widow.
Alone,
The love of her life and her provider is gone now, and this is also during a time where if you are a widow, I mean, you're kind of at the mercy of the community to take care of you. And I should say you're at the mercy of the community and your family, really, to take care of you. And she had neither of that.
Yep, it kind of all got snatched away.
It all got snatched away from her. And then she's got these two daughters-in-law who are also going through the same things. Yep. And she's thinking like, okay, well, at least they've got their families. At least they have their community that they just go back. And then you have this crazy moment where Ruth like lays it all on the line. And she takes this chance to follow Naomi and to take care of Naomi along the way.
And crazy things happened to her.
And crazy things happened, and amazing things happened because of that. But anytime that I come across a story, anytime that I go back to it, I'm always reminded of those pivotal moments in our lives. And we're going to talk about that for the wow, we're going to talk about that here for a second. I apologize, guys. I am not on my A game here today. I think this is what happens. Matt's not here. He balances us out.
And we're just so random, but it's cool.
We're lost. We're lost, buddy. Come back to us. Come back. So what we're gonna talk about here this morning is let's talk about some of those things that either keep us from moving on or progressing, or what are those? Can you point out some of those pivotal moments in your life where you had to make a decision or you had to trust God in the path that you were walking?
For sure. Like, I can think of daily occurrences, honestly, that I have to make decisions to be like, okay, like, no matter how big or small, I needed to trust God in this. But, like, I've talked recently about my health problems, but even a little while back, because I've also talked about how I suffer from anxiety terribly, social anxiety. So it came to the point where I have to walk my son to school every day. Like, I don't drive or anything. Right. So I walk him to school every day. And there is like...
Which is hard to...
Go ahead.
Walking, I was going to say, walking to school, driving, hard to do when you have vision problems as well.
Yeah, they don't let me have a license. So, I used to have to cross a major intersection. And there was a crossing guard, but on the way there, when I went to pick him up, there wasn't. And one day, the major intersection had a light out, so it was a 4-way stop. And like, oof. For me, like, it is like I would get hit by a car kind of intersection. So I literally just stood there and closed my eyes and prayed, like, please just let me get across this street so I can pick up my son. And that's like a daily occurrence for me now, where like I had to make a decision to just trust him to get me across the street. And even to walk him to school was getting really hard for me because I was so afraid of crossing streets or afraid of him being at school and me not being with him, because I was with him he skipped JK. So I took him like because of my fear of taking him to school.
What is junior kindergarten?
Yes, sorry, junior kindergarten.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure that you weren't saying like he skipped. Just kidding.
I never thought of it that way, but thank you.
You're welcome.
So yeah, I had him for the first 5 years of his life, like just with me all of the time. So letting him go to school, not being around me 24/7 was like taking a piece of me and like leaving it somewhere else. And it was so hard for me to think, what is going on with him? Is he being okay? Is he hurt? Like, does he have a boo-boo now? And that was like me, all of September, once I took him there, was just me sitting on the couch all day being like, I just stuck in a worry cycle. So eventually I just came to the point where, okay, God, I cannot live like this. Like, this is not me living. I am not worshiping you and any part of this. Like, I'm not giving any part of this to you. So eventually I had to come to a point where, help me, like, take this anxiety, help me with it, because I am just not living a life, really. So eventually I had to give it to him and say, and walk him to school. Like, I was at the point of like not leaving the house, like, oh, we can just call in sick today, it's okay. But then I had to just let it go, and it was much better.
I imagine that must have been challenging too, from the standpoint of like, you know, having your son around was, for lack of better ways of putting it, like he was your set of eyes. Like he, he looked. I'm sure that he's looked out for you, and
exactly. I lost my person.
Yeah, so you lost your seeing eye child.
Yeah. I always call anytime we go to McDonald's and I'm like in the lineup and I'm like, can you read the menu to me, please? So he'll do that for me, and yeah, he is my seeing eye little boy. So
yeah, I love that you have a sense of humor about it.
I think you have to at some point, but I think I always have. Like, I've never let that part of me get me down. Like, obviously it sucks. But it's just something I was given, thankfully, because it's just another pile on to my worry that I don't need, I'm gonna say. So graciously I have not had a lot of worry or stress about my eyes, which is well needed, because it is a lifelong thing.
Yeah, that's pretty fantastic. While I don't have a point of reference for, like, you know, sending
most
a child
people won't.
off to. What's that?
A lot of people won't.
Yeah, I don't have that point of reference. This is gonna sound funny. Like, anytime that we leave our dog somewhere, I'm like, Bailey and I are both like, do you think he's having a good time?
Yeah. It's pretty much like that. Like, even leaving my cat somewhere, it's like, oh my gosh, are they getting along? What am I gonna find broken when I get home?
Yeah, there is that too. Too.
Always something.
Yeah, I think for me, like, every day, you know, like you said, is that, you know, decision point of trusting God with the next steps, and with what you're doing, and man, like, especially being a pastor too, like there's not a day that goes by, and I'm probably going to get myself in trouble here because I know a couple of my board members listen, but I'm just going to go ahead and say this anyway, because I'm going to be honest about this. But there are days where I'm like, God, I have no idea what I'm doing here. Like, what am I doing here? Why me? Like, and it really is like just a callback for me to just, you know, to go to him in prayer and make the decision to say, okay, it's okay. It's okay for me to be afraid. It's not okay for me to be confused about why God has me here. Like, I need to trust him with that he's orchestrated things that, while I've made the choices to follow him, and that's been my part of the process. He's lined things up for us to be here, and I have no doubt about that whatsoever. Do I have doubt in my abilities? Absolutely. But I also know that, and I've seen this time and time again, where God will take people who are the most unlikely people. And I mean, that's the whole story. That's like Ruth, like, and this is the amazing thing about Ruth's story. Like, this just
ready for the mind blowing.
Yeah, get ready for the mind bomb here. But so with Ruth, okay, here she is. She's a foreigner, okay? She's a widow, and she goes back to Israel, to a people that are not her own, into a religious structure that are not her own, and quite honestly, a very, very closed off culture to anyone from the outside, particularly the Moabites. There's a history of animosity here, but between these two, and so she finds herself back in this place, finds herself then a time later interacting with a man named Boaz, who ends up not only like marrying her, and then fast forward, not only from her line do we get some of the greatest kings that Israel ever saw, but we also have lineage, the lineage of Jesus Christ within this legacy here. Crazy. And so the thing that I love about Ruth's story in here, and there's redemption in here for Naomi too. Like you see Naomi like flip, her attitude flip around and stuff like that, especially as she sees what God has done and what he's doing in her life and by proxy in Ruth's life. But what's so amazing to me is that these choices, which were like those pivotal moments, were the things that led to other things, other choices that ended up becoming so much bigger. So much bigger. The biggest. It's huge. It's huge. It's so much bigger than that anyone could have ever imagined. Yeah. And it would be ridiculous. It would have been ridiculous to, go to Ruth and be like, "Hey Ruth, I'm really, really sorry about your husband's death, but did you know that Messiah is going to come through your line?"
So what?
What are you even talking about? That's not even a part of my culture. That's not a part of my tradition. Like, what are you talking about here? Like, I don't understand.
I'm an outsider.
I don't even know that was even a conversation in Israel at that point in time. The whole deliverer thing. Yeah. But anyway, I mean, it was incremental choices in there of hey, you know what? I'm going to follow. I'm going to trust that. I imagine that Ruth heard stories about the God of Israel.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
I mean, if you and I'm wanting to say like Elimelech's name, her father-in-law's name, right, meant something like God is king or God is. I think it was something like that. I don't know if did you look into that at all? Because I know that you're the.
I'm on the iOS beta for 13. Okay. And everything crashed on the Bible app, so I couldn't use it. So I tried, but yeah, it just kept crashing. So sidebar, yeah, I couldn't do as much research as I wanted to.
I know that Elimelech's name means something.
There was a footnote beside his name, and I couldn't press it, and it made me very angry.
It made me so angry. Anyway, so I'm sure all of that to say that I'm sure that Ruth heard stories along the lines of the people of Israel, what God had done throughout their history, and surely there was some interest in there. That, okay, if God has done these things for these people that I love, how much more will he take care of, these people, which he apparently loves and is called out. And so yeah, it's one of those stories that I love it. I love that we get to see it in all of its messiness. Oh yeah. We get to see it in all of its honesty, and we get to see some redemption from it as well. And for me, like I know I need that. Like I need to be able to see that on a daily basis of like, hey, the things that you're making decisions in right now, the things that seem messy right now, God is in the process of making those things new. We're a part of that restorative work. Like right. That's like part of being a Christian is being a partner with God to bring total redemption to his creation. And that's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah,
pretty cool
especially
thing.
back then for sure.
Indeed. Indeed.
But I think we're going to end the convo there for
I
today.
think that's a good place.
But thank you very much for listening. You can check us out at rollthelevel.com. And that's where you can find everything we're doing. Like the podcast, our streams are there. Little bios about us, I think, are there too. I'm pretty sure I wrote one. No, I definitely wrote mine. I'm thinking you're late to the party.
I think it took me like way longer than it should have to write my bio.
Okay. But good job. But
Thanks, Sarah.
check us out there and catch us next time where we help each other roll the level.